Hello everybody, sorry about that last video where the audio was really fucked up. I don't know what was going on with my mic. I might have issues with it again in this video, which I really hope not. I had to troubleshoot a bunch of stuff. It's doing this weird glitchy thing. And I maybe could have redone the recap that I did in the most recent one, but I felt like I said what I wanted to say very well. But also, I was kind of running late for something else, so I kind of just had to push it out. It was an unfortunate circumstance, but hey, you're not here for quality. Honestly, I don't know what you're here for. But anyways, since you are here, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 100K on this channel by the end of the year, so I would much appreciate that subscription, especially if you've been watching these videos over from my main channel and you're not subscribed already. Just subscribe. It's not that hard. Also, drop a like on this video. It is much appreciated. So, another Game 7 to cover, which is great. My dad made the great point. I was watching this game with him. Happy Father's Day to him. About how this is one of the best second round series, or pair of second round series ever. And I think that's a pretty valid point. I would have to look into the details to rank it and things like that, but overall, definitely pretty good. However, today this video is going to focus primarily on the 76ers, so for that reason, I will get some analysis of the Hawks out of the way real quick. However, I also want to get my boy Mojo99, who is a Hawks fan, and see what he has to say about winning Game 7. So I'm going to FaceTime him now, and he'll actually show up, unlike Nicholas last time, who apparently had just a bad connection. If he doesn't show up, this will be embarrassing, so hopefully he does.
Yeah, man, what's up?
There we go. You had me nervous.
Oh, no.
I'm recording right now.
What's up, camera?
Yeah.
You gotta make your bed. What the fuck, man?
Look at this. There's a lot more that I have to do.
Oh, my
Yeah,
gosh.
there's such a fucking disaster just outside of the frame of the camera.
Working.
So I had to tell everyone I'm gonna focus this post game recap pretty much entirely on the Sixers. So I just wanted to get your opinion as a Hawks fan you can get your focus in on that.
If you were to tell, first off, any Hawks fan should be happy as is with just even being in this goddamn position right now. A third-year point guard, Trae Young, who he was the most disrespected player in the league. You know what I'm saying? Easily up there. If you were to tell someone that Trae Young was going to shoot, 5 for 23 from the field? Philly by like 20, 30, maybe even 40. But we won. What the fuck? Ben Simmons. Trae Young was ass, but guess what? There's two types of ass in this world. There is regular ass, and then there's Ben Simmons. That's all I gotta say. Go ahead and expose the 76ers and Ben Simmons are ass. Bye.
Okay. I didn't tell him to hang up on me, but I guess that's how he was feeling. Good lord. He's in a good mood. So, as he mentioned, Ben Simmons has been a factor in this series in a not great way. Although I would say, relative to some of the other games he's had, this is not the worst Ben Simmons game in the world, because he did play really good defense on Trae Young, and he was very good distributing the ball. But he also shot the ball 4 times, including passing up a layup to pass it to Matisse Thybulle. I genuinely think he's afraid to shoot the ball. But just to quickly cover what the Hawks did well, as Mojo mentioned, Trae Young did seriously struggle shooting the ball today. He goes 5 for 23. I feel like 4 of those field goals came in the fourth quarter, though, so good on him in that regard. He was just not getting space, and the few times that he did actually create space, there was one step back in particular that stands out to me, just wasn't going in. Got to the point where he put up a couple of deep three-pointers. He hit one of them in the fourth quarter, but a couple of deep threes that was like, at this point, you're just shooting this because you really can't get space otherwise. Kevin Huerter, unfucking believable in this game. Have to give him credit for that. John Collins pulled down a bunch of key rebounds. And Danilo Gallinari has continued to be good. After I was very critical of him to start the playoffs, especially against the Knicks, he has been pretty consistently all right throughout the rest of the playoffs. So have to give credit to him there. But other than that, I'm pretty much focused entirely on the Sixers because losing this series is unfucking acceptable. Now, I'm going to do a video tomorrow on the main channel about what's next for the Sixers. However, I just have to talk about the absolutely pathetic shit that went down in this series to allow it to go the way that it did. Because not a single person, I don't think, actually picked Atlanta to win this series without any bias. No one predicted the fucking Hawks to win this shit, and rightfully so. There was no reason to believe that the Hawks would win this series, let alone win it in the fashion that they did. The only reason was that maybe Joel Embiid misses some games or doesn't play very well as a result of his injury. It was like an Achilles, not an Achilles tear, obviously. It was like some sort of like injury or I don't fucking know. But it was like the most minor version of what an Achilles injury can be, which sounds big, but at the same time, Joel Embiid played fantastic in this series. So that's not really where the blame can be put. Where the blame goes, there's two big names right now, of course. It's Ben Simmons and it is Doc Rivers. Shit rotations from Doc Rivers. Shake Milton being in early in the fourth quarter, like getting fourth quarter minutes at all, and really minutes, period. Having lineups with Matisse Thybulle out there late in the game, so their spacing is absolutely atrocious. Like, if you have Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, and then, of course, good shooters, Tobias Harris pretty good, and then Seth Curry amazing, that's another thing that I'm not going to criticize at all. Seth Curry was amazing in this series. But if you have that lineup out there, you're not going to get much out of Embiid, because Ben Simmons is standing under the basket. They can bring help defense off of Matisse Thybulle, and basically it just results in Embiid taking a bunch of mid-range jumpers. Now, Embiid is so good that in this game and in the other games, he made a lot of those shots, but his actual ability to get in the paint and really punish the Hawks wasn't really there. It was mostly getting to the line and mid-range jumpers and the occasional three, and that's always been a part of his game. But the actual inside paint dominance that we know Joel Embiid for, not at all a thing in this game and really in the series as a whole, to no fault of his own, because the spacing is terrible. And the rotations exemplified that by having Matisse in there with lineups with Ben Simmons. I know the defensive advantage you get there, but at the end of the day, that level of spacing is just unacceptable in 2021. And putting Furkan out there, or even Tyrese fucking Maxey or George Hill, would just be a billion times better than that from a spacing perspective. Outside of that, from Doc Rivers, there's not much else to say. I mean, there's just questionable lineups. That's really the main thing. There were a couple of lineups that they did throughout this series, which was just the bench unit plus Tobias Harris. And like, why are you going 9 players deep in the playoffs, especially with your back against the wall in certain instances? That's just not okay. He still ended up he went 10 players deep. He went 10 players deep in a Game 7. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't realize it was actually this bad. Why did Seth Curry play 31 minutes? Are you out of your fucking mind, Doc? Are you out of your fucking mind? I didn't even realize it was this bad. Bro. Why? Holy shit, dude. I didn't realize it was that bad until I actually looked at the minute distribution. What the fuck is this? That's just straight up unacceptable. He went 10 players. You're not even really supposed to go 10 players deep in the regular season, but you can excuse it for, like, giving guys opportunities. But, like, this is just straight up not okay, what happened here. So, from Doc Rivers, fire Doc Rivers. I don't care that he's better than Brett Brown. Fire Doc Rivers. Ben Simmons doesn't know that he's allowed to shoot the ball. I imagine in Ben Simmons' mind, you open up the NBA rulebook, and to him, he would imagine that the first rule says Ben Simmons can't shoot. And I don't mean Ben Simmons can't shoot jump shots. I mean Ben Simmons can't take a fucking layup, because legitimately, he passed up a layup right under the basket. And I don't mean like, oh, he could have laid it up and there was defense there, so, maybe he makes it. No, it was wide open. And then he passes it to Matisse Thybulle, who gets hacked and then misses a free throw. He might even miss the second one. I don't remember. And this was late in the game. It wasn't even a layup. It was a dunk. He could have dunked that shit. And I fucking hate this out of Ben Simmons, that people look at Ben Simmons and go, okay, he can't shoot. That's really not his problem. Yeah, it's a fucking massive problem. It is a huge problem. But if Ben simply played aggressive, going to the basket, and shot the ball when he's supposed to, he would be a billion times better than he is without having a lick of talent from outside. So that's not really his problem. At least it's a limitation that we understand, but it's a limitation that's a lot harder to grasp or get over than just being a bitch. Essentially, I don't want to. I don't usually use words like that aggressively, but like, how else would you describe it? Like, you're passing up a layup in the second round in the last 5 minutes of a game 7 in a series that you should have fucking won. This team tanked for 7 years. They tanked for 7 years, or not quite 7. It was like 2013 to like 2017, around that ballpark. But even then, they spent all that time losing to get to here, to lose to a team that they were favored against dramatically. And not only lose it, but to lose it while pretty much healthy outside of Danny Green, and maybe Embiid was 5% worse than he would be under normal circumstances, but still damn good and still hindered by the circumstances of this roster. But, like, other than Danny Green, which, come on, we're not going to say Danny Green is the X factor in this series. To blow 2 20-point leads in back-to-back games. What else is there to say? The Sixers have been a team that I have not been the biggest fan of for a long time. I made a video this season about are the Sixers contenders or pretenders? Because this is the best this roster. That's the sad thing. This is the best this roster has looked since the Jimmy Butler era, which was one like half of a season, so era. But this team, I said in that video, was the worst team that I would consider a contender. I wouldn't consider the Hawks a contender. So what does that say about this team right now? Because I got a lot of flack from that. Now, most people agree with me, but of course, Sixers fans, first of all, people from Philadelphia are almost all terrible. That just seems to be that's my ignorant bias, is I'm just going to assume most people from Philadelphia suck, because based on my track record with interacting with them and based on all the shit that Philadelphia fans are known for doing, I just don't like Philadelphia and their fan base. It's one of the worst among the league, and from what I understand, it's terrible among other sports. So I got a lot of flack for that. But you know what? I wasn't even right. I was wrong to say they were worse than the contenders, because clearly this team wasn't even a fucking contender. To lose the Atlanta Hawks, a series they were heavily favored in the fashion that they did, this team was not even a contender. This team is a fucking joke. And that's probably what the title of this video is going to be. I might even let this video get demonetized just so I can emphasize the point. This team is a fucking joke. Trade Ben Simmons, fire Doc Rivers, rebuild this team entirely around Joel Embiid, because he's the only guy on this team really worth a damn outside of Seth fucking Curry and Matisse Thybulle's defense. Tobias Harris is not terrible, but he in this game, 33% from the field and missed like 4 fucking layups in the fourth quarter. 2 of them were floaters, so give him a little bit of an edge there, but fuck me, man. This team's a joke. The team's a joke. That's all there is to say about it. There is absolutely no excuse for this loss. There isn't one. Like, you can say, well, Doc Rivers coached bad. Well, Doc Rivers is a part of the Sixers right now. So when I say the Sixers don't have an excuse, Doc Rivers isn't an excuse because he's part of the fucking team. I tweeted that and they're like, well, Doc Rivers was bad. The team and the coach are the same entity. So that's still no fucking excuse. Doc Rivers coached terribly. Ben Simmons doesn't know how to shoot the fucking ball. This roster's construction is not that great. It's better than what it was when they signed Al Horford, but whoop the fucking do to that. Like, that's the lowest bar imaginable. I'm just done with this team as it's currently constructed. This team cannot come back another year, and I sure as fuck, if it does, will not give them any level of credit. They can win 80 games next year. Until I actually see them do something in the playoffs, I'm not going to believe in them, because fuck this. Maybe 80 games is an exaggeration, but, you know, if they were the best record in the league by a country mile and Jokic, Embiid won MVP, there would be I would still not believe in this team whatsoever. Not the way it's constructed, not with this Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid duo. This duo has to end now. So I think I've said everything I need to say. I was going to go on a tangent about Ben Simmons, but this is frustrating. I mean, I was rooting for the Hawks, so it's not frustrating in that the team that I wanted to win lost. But like it's I guess it's not frustrating. It's nice to be right, but also I know there is more to some of the players on this team, but there's also so many painful ways that this team just doesn't look right, and that's been a factor with this team forever. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Just the Sixers are a joke. That's the point. End of the video.